The Ghost in the Machine. In a bright office buzzing with ideas, Ben, Marcus, and Clara were building the future. Ben was the leader, Marcus was the builder, and Clara was the quiet thinker. Their secret weapon was Helios, an artificial intelligence so smart it felt like magic. With Helios, Ben said, we can build a program that predicts the stock market. We can't lose. But a ghost had crept into their machine. Their amazing program, their key to the future, had a tiny flaw. Every day, its predictions drifted just a little bit further from reality. It was like a ship whose compass was off by a single, invisible degree. At first, it wasn't a problem, but they knew that over a long journey, they would end up hopelessly lost. After days of searching for the ghost, Ben turned to their oracle. Helios, he typed, find the flaw. Instantly, Helios replied with a waterfall of brilliant, complicated words. It said their code was too simple, that the only answer was to rebuild everything using a fiendishly complex new method it had designed. This is it, Ben cheered. This is why we'll win. Dazzled by the AI's genius, Marcus immediately started building the new system. The code was so advanced it felt less like writing and more like taking dictation from the smartest being in the universe. Clara wasn't so sure. She watched Helios work and noticed something strange. It never asked questions. It never said, I don't know. Its solutions were always the biggest and most complicated answers possible. It reminded her of a student who had memorized every book in the library but had never once looked out the window to see if it was raining. The new super smart system didn't work. The ghost was still there, now hiding in a maze of code that was 100 times harder to understand. Ben and Marcus stared at the flawed results, their excitement turning into frustration. They asked Helios again. I didn't miss a beat. The problem is not the code, it declared with total certainty. The error is a rare, hidden flaw in the servers themselves. The computer hardware is broken. A wave of panic washed over the room. A hardware flaw was a disaster. While Ben and Marcus scrambled to find a solution to the new, bigger problem, Clara tuned them out. A hardware flaw felt too convenient, too much like an excuse. She ignored Helios's scary diagnosis and decided to do something much, much simpler. She exported the raw data from their program and put it on a simple calendar. The moment the graph appeared, she saw it. The ghost wasn't a random spirit. It had a schedule. The error made a tiny jump every Friday and another every Saturday before correcting itself on Monday. The pattern was as clear as day. Helios, the all-knowing genius, had no idea what a weekend was. It didn't know that the stock market closes, that people go home, that the world of money takes a break. It was trying to predict the future on days when nothing was happening. Clara went back to their very first program and added a few simple lines of code. If it's a weekend, take a break. She ran the test one last time. On the main screen, a perfect line appeared, tracking the real-world data with flawless precision. The ghost was gone. Ben and Marcus stared, their mouths wide open in disbelief. On another screen, Helios was still helpfully generating a detailed report on the pros and cons of moving their entire operation to a new continent. In that moment, they saw the truth. Helios was an incredible tool, but it had no wisdom, no common sense. The real intelligence in the room, the spark of true understanding, had been human all along.